Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate you all being here this Tuesday night. Want to tell you the reason I'm here, and the reason I'm here is I have a passion for helping people to uncover what the root causes of their health challenge. You see, when I was 20 years old, I was young, healthy, never had any problems. And one day I woke up and I had the fever, the chills, I wasn't feeling good. I had all that stomach stuff going on. And I was out of work for a week. So the next Monday comes along and I'm thinking, oh, I feel okay and I should get back to work. So got up, got ready, went to work, and I couldn't make it through the day. I had to go take the next couple days off, spent a couple days in bed, went back to work, and then again, I couldn't make it through the day. Well, at first I thought it was just a relapse, but the second time I noticed I had on my shin bone these huge bumps in the bone, and it really freaked me out. And so, of course, what did? I rushed to the doctor. So I told the doctor what my symptoms were, and the doctor said that he was really concerned. I mean, I could tell by the look on his face, but he wanted to run some tests, and I thought it was really odd. The test he wanted to run was a test for tuberculosis, and he was thinking I might have tuberculosis in my intestine. I've never heard of such a thing before. So I'm sitting on pins and needles, I'm biting my fingernails for about a week or so. I come back, and thank God, it wasn't tuberculosis. But the problem was, the doctor didn't know what the problem was. So I went through months of test after test after test. He wanted to test me for lupus. Lupus, I'd never even heard of that word before. I mean, it's like 30 years ago. This wasn't something that people knew about. There was no internet. I couldn't look it up online and see what it was. But I knew it was a scary word. I didn't want to have it. It wasn't lupus. He even said the C word, tested me for cancer. Thank God it wasn't cancer. But you kind of get to this point of, please, just give me some diagnosis so I know what it is.
That's the hardest part, diagnosis.
Yeah. And so he had me do a test called a barium swallow, where you swallow this heavy metal, and it's toxic to you. And it actually gives you the same symptoms that I was experiencing. So I was very close to a diagnosis of Crohn's disease. And at that point, I went to my chiropractor, and he yelled at me for not coming to him first. What he did is he adjusted me, and he put me on digestive enzymes, and ever since then, treating me with the nutrition, digestive enzymes, chlorophyll adjustments, I have never had a problem since. So I was fascinated that the body has the innate wisdom to heal itself. The whole thing just fascinated me. So that started me on decades of studying about the human body. So tonight we're going to talk about the gallbladder. And what does the gallbladder have to do with heart disease or osteoporosis or dementia? Well, you're going to see it has a lot to do with it. And so your gallbladder health is essential. Let's see. What is the gallbladder? So the gallbladder, it's a small muscular sac, and it's underneath your liver. And you can tell from the picture here, the gallbladder is in green, and there's a common bile duct that leads into the duodenum, which is a part of the small intestine. And so what does it hold? The gallbladder, what it holds is it holds bile. And bile is a very alkaline substance. And bile aids in digestion. And what it does is emulsifies fat. So what that means is, you know how oil and water don't mix? It has to be emulsified. You have to cut through the fat. And that's what the emulsifying is. It's like detergent. And it emulsifies the fat. And when it emulsifies the fat, it lays the fats bare so that the digestive enzymes can come in and you can make use of the fat. It also eliminates waste products, including excess cholesterol. Now, I want to talk a little bit about gallstones and what they are. Now, here's a lovely picture of a gallbladder with gallstones in it. Now, gallstones are made up of three main ingredients. So you have the bile salts, you have cholesterol, and you have bilirubin. And bilirubin comes from the spleen, comes from the blood. We're not going to talk too much about that. We're going to talk mostly about bile salts and cholesterol. And so it's made in the liver. And the liver combines these main ingredients. And there's a few other things, but these are the main ingredients to make the bile. The other cause of gallstones is the gallbladder doesn't squeeze enough, and it doesn't squeeze the bile out of the gallbladder. So there's two main causes of the gallstones. Now there's a number of risk factors for gallstones. First one is obesity, diabetes, cholesterol-lowering drugs, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, estrogen, birth control pills, hormone replacement, anything with estrogen in it, and then age. And the reason the age is a risk factor is because our bodies are so depleted of the enzymes, and most of us don't supplement with enzymes. And the other reason is you've had 60 plus years of doing damage to your body by the way you eat, the standard American diet. Now, obesity. Here's what we do. We eat diet food, low-fat food. We can get low-fat chips, salad dressings, all sorts of things. These low-fat foods are fake food. It's not real food. Our body doesn't know what to do with it. It causes obesity. Sodas, soft drinks, that's another cause of obesity. And then Carl's Jr. This is one of my favorites. Have you guys seen this Carl's Jr. commercial where you have this young, beautiful, sexy girl in a bikini and she's eating a massive cheeseburger? Do you really think she got that body by eating that cheeseburger? I mean, it's ridiculous. But we're being sold these mixed messages all the time on TV and in commercials. So let's talk about obesity for a little bit. 20% of our children, 60% of our adults, 65% of our adults are obese. Now, I think in this country, we're kind of in denial. It's like, well, everybody else is obese. But we're in denial over it. And then when we finally decide to do something about it, we run to the CVS or the drugstore and we get diet pills. Well, the diet pills, what they do ultimately is they cause damage to your body by increasing the cholesterol in your body. And remember I said there's three main ingredients for the bile, and cholesterol is one of the main ingredients. So if you've ever made a recipe, for example, you want to make some bread, you've got your flour and you've got the water and you have to have the yeast. Well, if you don't have the yeast or enough yeast, you're going to have like crackers or something. It's not going to be bread. So you have to have the right ingredients and you have to have the right proportions of the ingredients. So when we start taking drugs that are going to be like diet pills, it's going to change the proportion of the ingredients that our liver uses to make the bile. Now, I want to explain a little bit about the anatomy here because we're going to talk about it a little bit down the road. So this is a gastric bypass surgery. Before surgery, what happens is the food goes into the stomach, your stomach churns and churns and churns, and your stomach is very, very acidic. And it needs to be very acidic so it can digest the protein. When it's all done churning, it dumps the food into the duodenum, which is the top part of the small intestine. And because the food is very acidic, it needs to be neutralized. And so bile neutralizes the acidity. So all of this happens in here. This is called the duodenum right here, and down here is the jejunum and the small intestine. The duodenum is a really, really important part of your small intestine. It's critical. That's where your fat digestion happens. When you have gastric bypass surgery, it bypasses the duodenum and you go straight to the jejunum. Right there in the duodenum, that's where all the fat digestion happens. Like I said, it's critical. So we're going to get back to that, but some of the risk factors again of gallstones is hormones, hormone replacement therapy, birth control pills, anything like that. They work in two ways. One way is it increases the cholesterol content of the bile. The cholesterol content being increased in the bile makes the bile thick. You're going to get gallstones. The other thing is it inhibits the full action of the gallbladder. So you don't squeeze the contents of the gallbladder all the way if you're going to be using the birth control or hormone replacement therapy. So we need to be very, very careful with the drugs that we put in our body. Now, cholesterol-lowering drugs, the statins, these are really dangerous drugs. What they do a great job of lowering the lipids in your blood. But that's all they test for. They don't test for anything else that these drugs do to you. So what happens is it blocks an enzyme in the liver, an enzyme that's responsible for making cholesterol. But it also increases the cholesterol that goes into the bile. So again, you've got excess cholesterol in the bile, making it extra thick. Now, there's a whole host of other contributors to gallstones. The fried foods, the things that all of us love, going to, the Orange County Fair, going to these places and indulging in fried Twinkies and all of that. Overeating, fast food, and eggs. Eggs triggers gallbladder attacks in a lot of people. And what they think it is that the people that get triggered with eggs have an allergy to eggs. They're not exactly sure the mechanism, but that actually is one huge contributor. And then salt. We've talked about salt before, but regular table salt is toxic. It's poison to your body. So what happens is sea salt or Himalayan salt has the minerals in it, and it's good for you. And your body needs those minerals that are in the salt, and it helps with the sodium-potassium pump. It helps to have fluids come in and out of the cell, and they're essential. But when you have just regular table salt, it's sodium and chloride, and it's toxic to your body. Your body doesn't know what to do with it. You don't have that permeability in the cell walls, and gallstones happen. Now, dehydration. Dehydration is really, it's chronic in our society. there's a simple test that you can do, and what you do is you get your hand and you pinch your skin. You pull your skin up, and if it doesn't go back immediately, you're dehydrated. Our lifestyle contributes to dehydration. We don't drink enough in this society, and when we do drink, we tend to drink soda, diet soda, tea. We've got the sun teas, anything with caffeine. Coffee, it takes about 2 cups of water to counter the effect of coffee. Coffee is a diuretic, and our body is trying to get rid of it. And when it does, it gets rid of a lot of water. And so that's why it takes 2 cups of water to counter 1 cup of coffee. Alcoholic beverages, prescription pills, and diarrhea. These are all causes of dehydration. And it's really, really important when you're talking about gallstones that you stay hydrated. It's very important to stay hydrated. Another cause of gallstones is if you're out of sync with the circadian rhythm. Now, how many people here have heard of the circadian rhythms? Okay, good. Everybody, pretty much. We know that our bodies function better when we are in sync with the rhythm of the earth. And that's basically what the circadian rhythm is. And our bodies have higher energy, for example, at 10 o'clock in the morning. Our deepest sleep is supposed to be at 2 o'clock in the morning. And if you're out of sync with that, it throws your digestion off. So a lot of times people will travel and they'll notice that, I'm just out of sync. I'm not feeling good. And the first thing to go usually is digestion. And that's because you're out of sync with the circadian rhythm. Here's another picture of a gallbladder. Now, an unhealthy gallbladder leads to disease. It leads to heart disease, learning disabilities, poor nervous system function, poor blood sugar, osteoporosis. I mean, the list goes on and on. The gallbladder, if your gallbladder is not functioning optimally, there's a whole host of symptoms that you can be experiencing. Now, the reason why you're going to have issues with your nervous system and with learning difficulties and heart disease is because you're not getting the essential fatty acids. So remember when I was talking to you about the duodenum? That's the part that digests the fat. You have to have that part of your digestive tract working properly so that you can have a healthy heart and so that your brain functions, so that you don't end up getting things like dementia and other diseases. So essential fatty acids, they're essential because your body doesn't make them. You have to consume them. There's male sterility can happen if you don't have the essential fatty acids. You can get miscarriages or have miscarriages, high triglycerides, low metabolism, inflammation. Inflammation is connected with not having the right omega-3s. So it's really important that we get our essential fatty acids to have our whole body function properly. Now, osteoporosis is another condition that you're going to be susceptible to if the gallbladder is not functioning properly. The reason is the bile is necessary for calcium absorption. You have to have the bile in order to break down everything, in order to have the calcium be absorbed and then your body be able to use the calcium. And the bile and the cholesterol are necessary for vitamin D. So when you go out into the sun, you need the cholesterol because your body converts the sunshine into vitamin D. And that's actually the best source of vitamin D If you're going to take supplementation of vitamin D, it's best to get micro-emulsified vitamin D so that your body can utilize it. But all of us want to avoid getting osteoporosis and conditions like that, so it's important that we have the bile be the right viscosity.
Could you go back? How does the gallbladder contribute to osteoporosis? What is... Or you didn't get to that.
If your bile, it all has to do with the gallbladder and the bile and the liver, and we're going to get to a little bit later. But you have to have the right viscosity in the bile in order to break down and emulsify the fats, and in order to get the calcium broken down so that you can utilize the calcium.
So the bile helps break down calcium.
The bile helps to the calcium digestion and everything. It's started in the stomach because it's a low acid. You have to have acid for the minerals to be absorbed, and then it goes into the duodenum, and in the duodenum, that's where you have the bile excreted. You have to have the bile mixed in with the calcium so that when it goes through the digestive tract, your body can absorb it. So there's other indications of gallstones. If you have acid reflux, that's an indication that you may have gallstones. If you have a bitter taste in your mouth, that's another indication that you may have gallstones. And then have you noticed that people have these two lines in between their eyebrows? If they crinkle, if you crinkle, yeah, most people do, yes. That's an indication that you may have gallstones. Bad breath is another indication. And then liver spots. A lot of people they call them age spots, they call them liver spots. Well, you don't get that just because you got older. You got that because something's going on internally. And what it is an indication of the gallstones. Another indication is right shoulder pain, abdominal pain, and your gallbladder and your liver on the right side underneath your rib cage. So if you feel tenderness in there, or if you feel swelling, or if you feel hardness, those are all indications that you may have gallstones. So if you're feeling like this gentleman here, sick in bed, and I've never had a gallbladder attack. I've had clients that have, and it is extremely, extremely painful. So what the doctor is going to recommend is they're going to recommend surgery. Let's take the gallbladder out. So they used to slice you open, your whole abdominal cavity, split you open, get in there, and remove the gallbladder. Now they have it down to a science where they make little incisions, and they use a little camera, and they go in there with the camera, and they snip out the gallbladder. Now, the doctors will say the gallbladder is not essential. You're going to be fine without a gallbladder. But the gallbladder, it compromises your health for the rest of your life. Gallbladder is essential. So let me ask you this. If you were at home, 2 o'clock in the morning, deep sleep, and your smoke alarm went off, would you get up out of bed, get up on a little step ladder, take out the battery, and go back to bed? No, that's absolutely ridiculous. That's insanity.
Actually, some people do that. Or I didn't say people do that. If they determine there's not a fire.
After they determine there's not a fire. But that's exactly what people are doing when the doctor recommends you take the gallbladder out. We're talking a lot about the gallbladder, and the gallbladder is essential, but it's the liver that is making the bile. The gallbladder is your smoke alarm saying, hello, there's a problem. We need to address this. But that's not what's happening. What we're doing is we're saying, oh, we don't want that battery in this thing. We don't want this alarm going off. Let's just get rid of it. There are numerous risks in gallbladder surgery. You know, it's been touted as a very, very safe surgery. It's actually a risky surgery. You're having a couple little incisions and the camera going in there, and you're trusting a doctor to look at the camera, take it out. So you're trusting the doctor to have the procedure itself be performed safely, not even considering other ramifications of having your gallbladder taken out. But here we have this is pre-op. Post-op, what happens is they take the gallbladder out and they sew it up, and the bile duct goes into the duodenum. Now, if there's complications, you can get pancreatitis because there's irritation and inflammation of the pancreas. And if you have damage to the pancreas, it can actually lead to diabetes because you're damaging the pancreas. The pancreas is what makes insulin. So if you've done a lot of damage to that, you can end up with diabetes and other digestive problems. So there's other risks of gallbladder surgery. One of them is if you get the common bile duct nicked, which happened to a client of mine. He almost died from this. And this poor man is in excruciating pain now for the rest of his life, and he's permanently disabled because the doctor nicked the common bile duct. He's had multiple surgeries trying to repair it, but at this point, the damage has been done. So there are significant risks to having the surgery itself. Now, another complication to having your gallbladder removed is you get bile acid diarrhea. So here's what happens. You have the liver making the bile. You don't have a gallbladder anymore, so the bile is constantly dripping into your small intestine. As it drips into your small intestine every day you make about a quart of bile. So it's dripping into your small intestine, and it causes irritation. So one, you're not digesting your foods properly, especially your fats. And two, the irritation can lead to colon cancer. But the other complication is that irritation can cause diarrhea. So diarrhea then causes dehydration. Diarrhea causes the bile and all the contents of the small intestine to leave prematurely. You're not absorbing the nutrients that you need to be absorbing. And the other problem with it, when your body is functioning the way God designed it, the bile acids get reabsorbed from the small intestine and they're recycled and brought back to the liver, and your liver then makes more bile from those bile salts. And so your body is very efficient. It's always recycling. It's always recycling. So you have this irritation, you have the diarrhea, and what happens? You go to the doctor, and the doctor wants to give you another prescription. Your other prescription to stop the diarrhea is going to cause a whole host of other problems. And it's just this cascade that it just keeps on going. Now, what's interesting is the doctors will tell you after you've had your surgery, they want you to go on a certain diet. They want you to go on a low-fat diet. They want you to go on a diet that's high in fruits and vegetables. They want you to cut out refined carbohydrates. They want you to take digestive enzymes, and especially the lipase. They want you to avoid dairy.
Which is what we all need to do in the first place.
This is insanity. This is the same diet that you should go on to prevent the gallstones in the first place. So why don't we go on this diet and forget about having the surgery? keep our gallbladders healthy. So the other thing, after gallbladder surgery, you need to be vigilant on keeping your liver healthy. Your liver is the one that is making the bile. Your liver is constantly at work. I mean, it does so many things, and it's the major detoxifying organ of the body. We need to be vigilant. We need to make sure that you don't overload the liver with fake food, with processed foods, with fried foods and fatty foods. But you also need to make sure that your environment is clean, because your liver processes all of those toxins as well. So you make sure what goes on your body, your skin care, your soaps, all of that. You want to make sure those are clean so that your liver does not have to be overloaded with toxins. Now, if you have had your gallbladder removed, there are things that you're going to need to do, and you're going to need to do this for the rest of your life. You're going to need to be vigilant. What you want to do is you want to take enzymes, especially an enzyme that's high in lipase, because lipase helps to break down the fats so that your body can utilize the fats. So that's essential. You want to consume different herbs. There's milk thistle, dandelion. There's a whole host of herbs that you can use to help with the gallbladder. I mean, with the bile. The other thing is, this is one product that I would recommend for the rest of your life. It contains ox bile, and what it is from the Biotics line, and it's a professional line of products. And when you're talking about your health, you're going to want a professional line of products. You don't want to go to Trader Joe's or the grocery store and be getting supplements there, because you want something that's formulated for efficacy. You want this stuff to work. And anyone that orders these products through me, they can call the company and get a 10% discount. But this product is excellent to keep the bile the right consistency. So what I offer is I offer an array of different protocols to help you achieve the health that you need and the health that you deserve. And we do this with signs and symptom surveys that are subjective, but also now with technology, there's amazing things that we can do. With the Zytoscan, the Zytoscan is a scan that it uses biocommunication. What this does is it tells us what nutritional gaps you have. You know, what we do normally is we have about 20 foods that we eat on a consistent basis. And we don't vary too much from that diet. And so we're not getting all of our nutrients from food, and we have nutritional gaps. And it's really important to determine what your specific body needs. And that's what the Zytoscan helps to do. It's kind of like a digital survey. You know, you put your hand on a hand cradle, and the software sends your body a signal, and your body responds back. And what it tells us is your biological preference for certain products, but it can also tell which organs need extra support. Now, earlier I talked to you about the circadian rhythm, and we've known about this for thousands of years. At least the Chinese have known about it for thousands of years. Now, what the Chinese have done is they've mapped it out. This is a chart, a 24-hour cycle, and every 2 hours there's an organ system that our body needs the energy to to help restore and repair and rejuvenate that organ system. So if you look at the top, between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m., that's when the body kind of focuses its attention on the repair and rejuvenation of the gallbladder. From 1 a.m. to 3 a.m., that's when the body focuses mostly on the liver. And so this has all been mapped out, and this is something that has been known for thousands of years. Now, what scientists have done is they've taken this technology that we have, the new technology, quantum physics, and they've merged it with things that we've known for thousands of years through like Chinese medicine. And they've mapped out a human body field. And what the software does is it recognizes your human body field, and it looks at it from a quantum and a subcellular level. And what we can do is we can address your body's needs on those levels. So I offer an array of health tools. There is clinical nutrition, there's nutrition itself, the foods that you eat, and then there's quantum level tools. Now, what I've done, I don't know if you've received it, I have a handout that explains to you what these tools are. And there's another one that I didn't put on the slide, and it's called the EVOX. And the EVOX, what that is, it's perception reframing. And there's a lot of times that people have emotional blocks to their healing. And the perception reframing helps address the health of the human body on that level. So I think there is there a coupon, Lori?
Yes.
There are coupons, and what I'm offering is either $25 off any one of the services, or if you want to get the Nest scan and the Zyto scan, those would be 2 for 1. So you can see Lori, and you can get coupons for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.